Greetings, Dota fans, and welcome back to the desk. I'm Zyori, he's Trent Pax, and we have another best of one coming your way.
Yours has your dreads on. I didn't even notice.
Oh, that's great.
They brought us mugs.
Let's see here.
We got mugs. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's me wearing a wig. That's beautiful. That's from the Zyori Shane video.
Profile. I thought it was the real dreads. How disappointing. Yeah, it's a bit more updated.
PGL continuing to keep up with the memes.
Excellent.
Hashtag
Great work.
never forget, right?
Wow.
Complexity versus newbie, Trent. This is another big one. No elimination in this game, but winner securing a seat in the playoffs. So
almost
still a
just
lot
as
on the
important, because it means you're not getting eliminated,
Yeah.
which is a very nice thing at the current moment, because I heard Vici just got knocked out, and they're pretty good, so watch out.
Yeah,
you know?
I did just
They're
get word
dropping
from
like
production
flies.
that that's exactly what happened. Let's look at our featured matchup very quickly between these two teams. Who do we have?
We have TI winner. Oh, wait, no, we don't. We have Kaka. I thought we were going to get Faith. We lost Faith. I wanted TI winner versus future TI winner Kyle.
Yeah, well, I guess it's a little hard that the position 4s, the position 5s, sometimes they trade out roles. We were sort of picturing the Melons versus Faith matchup, but Kaka, a name worth bringing up, huh?
Oh, I like it. Oh, I'm good to go here. Kyle Dota, man, he's I mean, what else is there to say? He says it all for you. Why talk about Kyle when he talks about himself so much? No, they're looking out for, don't want that ego to get out of check here. So they were, as we said earlier, excited about this matchup, and oh, well, there they are. Newbie.
Ahoy. Welcome to the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Initial bans have come out. Complexity, removing Razor, Bounty Hunter, and the Naga Siren. Newbie. They've taken out the Beastmaster, Tiny, and Chen. So a lot of comfort picks being removed here, but I've got a lot of faith in this Kyle mastermind. Yesterday, again, we mentioned it before, but that Timbersaw was just so perfectly picked, Trent. It was the perfect hero in that situation. It's so magical
intentional?
when that
Did you mean to do that? You have that faith in Kyle? Is that? Oh, look at him. He's so clever. What a wordsmith. AA, first pick here. So a little bit of that... perhaps denial against the DP. It doesn't really matter, though, honestly. I mean, AA is just ownage.
I've come to that point where I feel like I've hyper-analyzed the AA picks. He's just well-rounded.
Yeah, he's very
great
good.
in lanes. He's good in those mid-game team fights once you hit level 6, and he scales pretty much infinitely if the game goes on forever in terms of position 5.
He's got downsides, though. You know, you're playing sport in your pubs, and you're like, okay, I got a first pick. I have to choose some support without knowing anything about this game. And sometimes you pick AA, and you get like a Storm Spirit or something in this game, and you're just like, well, I'm going to die over and over. So he has to be shored up in some ways. He doesn't have a reliable stun, which is often something you want to see from your position 5. But he, of course, offers a ridiculous amount of damage, unlike most supports.
Yeah, the Icy Vortex, that AoE slow, we've also seen really be a key part of these team fights. It does buff up some damage as well, but we've seen it more commonly, I think, paired with heroes that need help sticking on targets.
Jesse's a bit chilly.
I was noticed that. Yeah, wrapped up in the scarf. We've had the opposite problem. It's been pretty warm over here in the studio, but maybe where the players are, it's a bit chilly. No surprise for Newbie. They will first pick the Gyrocopter after thinking about it with some of that reserve time, but two heroes that we've come to know quite well throughout this group stage.
Yeah, Sand King's also still in there, and he will. Oh, okay. The Oracle counter to the AA. I like it.
This is a little different. We've seen at least one Oracle pick throughout this group stage. The hero is in a little bit of a weird place right now, but what's your confidence level with a second pick Oracle?
Well, personally, I know the hero's really fun to play, so at least there's that, right? You got all kinds of damage coming through, kind of like AA.
You're one win away from making it to the main event of a $1 million tournament, and I'm sure they're thinking, let's just have a little fun with it, guys. What would be the most fun for you to play right now? Let's do it. Something tells me there's got to be a little more to it than that.
It's because of how it works with the Frostbite duration on Ancient Apparition. So at level 6, it's 8, and then it goes 9, and then it goes 10 for AA, and then it's the same thing for Oracle, if I'm not mistaken, right? So basically, you can ensure that people can't shatter just by false promising every single time. It like matches up perfectly. So it's a very handy thing to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Some merit to there. Now, do you think that's enough? Do you need to combo something with this Oracle? You know, you always think of like Oracle Huskar as some crazy combo. I guess probably not a necessity. Just a good, well-rounded support to make sure the Gyrocopter can stay alive.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is a threat, right? Maybe they have practice. That'd be pretty hilarious. I highly doubt Complexity are going to ban Huskar. I'd be very surprised, but that'd be pretty funny.
What about just the combo between Oracle and Gyrocopter with Fortune's End and Rocket Barrage, right? You've got a great root, a good disable for Gyro to close the gap, and that's kind of all he needs to find kills in the early game.
Yeah, the AA and the Oracle are just a lot alike, honestly. Like, they both have kind of unreliable disables, pretty high damage, so the control element, I guess, a little bit in coL's favor right now just because of the puck, but no, overall, I'm pretty fine with the Oracle hero, honestly. The other heroes you'd be thinking about would be like Rubik, I guess, would have been a more common 5 in the last couple weeks that we've been seeing just picked up in the first phase.
That's
the Witch Doctor, the
one.
Disruptor, all still in there, and they go for the Oracle. So does that mean they have something up there? Or are they just saying, look, we know you have an AA, but we really want this one tanky hero. Maybe it's going to be that Death Prophet, and we don't want you to just be able to negate that with your AA.
Good on you, Trent. You correctly predicted that Complexity would not overreact to this Oracle pick. They've just banned out the Underlord and the DK, 2 heroes very commonly in that second banning couplet over the last couple days.
Now punish them. Pick Huskar. Show them.
Newbie banning out the Lifestealer and the Void, so a couple of big cores that they're not looking forward to playing against. So.
Teach them not to underestimate.
I like it. I really like the Void ban here, though. It's great when you see Void with Ancient Apparition. It's one of those classic pairings, Ice Blast into the Chrono.
That's so China. But, I can't see it.
Well, but also, Void is just a great way. What's one way to stop that False Promise from doing much? Well, hit the Oracle in a Chronosphere.
And they'll take the Nyx. Okay, so the Sand King was still in there. A little surprised, but obviously counters puck quite well. Always been a good one. Just able to use the Carapace very effectively. And the Root does result in a pretty easy setup stun, right? You just throw that Fortune's End, and then that gives Nyx something to target into. You don't necessarily need that first initiation. So Nyx, you could say, has a much more versatile toolkit as well compared to a Sand King when it comes to like long, drawn-out fights, and then you can also be scouting out across the map too. So.
Yeah, all fair points. I think likely the position 4, we did see an off-lane Nyx. Was it Ohio, I think, that played that off-lane Nyx? Felt very flat. I think there's a reason this really isn't a 3 hero anymore and that he's really been played by support players more so. Yeah,
it's rough. It's just, there's so much pressure on you if you're the off-lane hero to get those ganks off, or you just kind of slow right down. You really need a different 4 or something too, like a coL or someone who can actually abuse that space then if you really want to run him 3. But Sand King does now come out here. He, as we discussed, combos nicely with that puck, but didn't work out too well for old Vici last game. And, you know, if this holds true, so every time I wear one of these pins, that hero loses the game. The hero gets picked every time, and then the hero loses. So we've lost the Naga game, they lost. And then the next day, the IO game, they lost. And now we're on puck. Second puck game, supposedly, according to my pin magic, coL are going to lose.
Yeah, we talk about the caster's curse a lot in terms of commentary.
I'm actually cursed.
You have elevated the meta of caster curse now to the pin meta.
Yeah. So
well done, sir.
So coL have already lost. Condolences to NA fans out there. It's actually over. Especially because this is the newbie Tidehunter. KP will always remain in my heart for being the person who brought back Tidehunter. This hero was in the dumpster. Complete garbage.
Yeah.
Like, no one was picking this guy, and KP just refused. He was like, you know what? I'm just going to start playing Tidehunter. What are you guys going to do about it? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take Roche every single game. No one else is getting Roche. Try and come into my pit. Just, I dare you. And they would win every single game, because you know what? People, they dared.
Yeah. I
mean, they lost because of it.
You're definitely not wrong. I feel like Tide has been one of those heroes we've talked about a lot on this panel, but has seldom been picked up. Seems like some teams are a little hesitant to play around that really long cooldown with the Ravage in the off lane, but I think one of the other reasons is that Gyrocopter's been picked so much. He's one of few heroes that can totally zone out Tidehunter, but in this situation, I think Tide will have some okay presence in the lane as Lycan is the 4th pick from Complexity.
I mean, we often see Tide picked as a counter to Lycan, so probably
That's
fairly
sort of
happy with that. So if he gets a good Anchor Smash off, like if he gets a Ravage off into Lycan in the summons or something, then Anchor Smashes them, his damage is gone for a pretty sizable duration. You got to really watch out for that as a Lycan player, but coL have been very successful with the Lycan over the past month or so. They won quite a few of the qualifiers, just constantly throwing it on top of Chessie. And there's also that flexibility right now for that puck, too. You don't know if it's going to be for Moo or if it's going to be for Limp. So you're just like, what do we ban? And they go with that Viper just to make sure the old Kraken Shell will be sticking around.
Yeah, no doubt. Lycan hasn't been getting too much love in this tournament, but still always a threat, right? One of those heroes that if you win a team fight, you can just punish a little bit, like a page out of that Death Prophet book. You win a fight and you can transition into easy objectives.
I like how he's got that big like medallion. He's like the Warden of North America, you know? he's helping out NA Dotes right now.
They're getting into the lore.
Yeah,
see, he's a medallion carrier, and
there you go. Okay, I like
he's got the cosmetic built in, just like Void with that Battle Fury. But here we go, last pick. It will be a Complexity Omni Knight as TA and Viper have been banned out. We'll see what Nuvi wants to do in response.
Sneaky, sneaky. Omni Knight all the way at the end of the draft. This guy, he's supposed to be up there in those first couple bans. Now, mind you, he hasn't been very successful this tournament. I don't know if you guys have noticed. He's having a rough go.
I watched Ohio lose 2 games in a row on Omni Knight, and it was painful both times.
And where are they now?
Eliminated.
They're out of here.
So, yeah, you're definitely right. Omni Knight with the Lycan is pretty nice. He definitely has slot issues. He's a hero that gravitates towards BKB, so Repel is definitely a big tool here. Very interesting draft. What are you thinking for newbie? They've got about 50 seconds to decide. Of course, they will need another core.
Could go mid, could go for the safe lane. They have a lot of AoE control already just from like the Tide. There's the follow from the Nyx Assassin, the damage from the Gyrocopter too, so pretty well versed themselves. You could say tower damage possibly, like TB if they wanted to go for a safe laner, but it's the tower damage and the DP instead. So that AA into the DP looking good, but Oracle DP has been a big combo for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Used to be like the only way people would actually pick DP, honestly. Like, she wasn't very popular at the time, but...
Yeah, right. Like, DP is a hero that just needs to survive to do damage with her ult, and on top of that, you've got Spirit Siphon, so you have some additional heal.
Yeah, and then that heal gets boosted, so all the
formula.
damage is negated, and so it's pretty absurd.
Yeah, it's a great combo. So, all right, I'm going to ask you again here, Trent. Which draft do you favor? Last game, our predictions couldn't have been more wrong. We both favored the Vici draft, and they got obliterated.
But, okay.
Are you going to do it again? Do you favor this newbie draft, my friend?
Do I favor this draft? Yes. Overall, I favor the newbie draft. However, much like the Liquid game, I do like the idea of that complexity. If they get off to a nice early start, they're going to do quite well. And they also have a puck, so they're going to lose. But newbies, like the overall draft from newbie, very just newbie. This is newbie Dota. I've seen this numerous times. They've done extremely well. I love the 5-man aspect of it, so I can see either team winning this one, and I'm going to give them the slight edge.
Okay, I'm going to join you on that, but always scary when there's a Lycan, right? That is one hero that throws a wrench into the mix, and if you get that momentum, he can often feel unstoppable, especially against a hero like Oracle. We have all seen a couple of games where that Oracle falls a little flat and just feels like a free sandwich for the other team.
Yeah, the try-on-try once again here, likely to happen, right? If you're coL, you want the Omni versus the Tide. If you're newbie, you probably want the Tide versus the Omni anyway, even though it's like you can't necessarily free farm. He might bully you a little bit, but I like this newbie trio of the Oracle, the Gyro, and the Nyx Assassin. Oracle suffers at level 1 for sure because he just has the Fortune's End, but it'd be all right.
Looks like a potential aggro try coming out of Complexity. They do have 4 heroes grouped up in the top at the moment with Moo, Safe Lane, Omni Knight. So looking for a switcheroo, maybe even a first blood, but not going to find anyone as newbie take relatively defensive positions in their own jungle.
Then our mid, probably going to be quite boring this game. Puck versus DP.
Puck versus, yeah, pretty much just a farm fest. Without rotations, not really expecting any kind of kills, just a lot of creep hitting.
Yep. Old Scriff's just going to be chilling up top. That's pretty much all there is to do really on this one.
Yeah, Tide versus Omni Knight. How does that matchup go? Generally, Omni does very well in those 1v1 matchups, but I feel like Anchor Smash might give Tide the slight edge.
Yeah, it's just one of those, right? Like, the mana regen comes into play for both heroes, really, but more so the Omni Knight because those purifications. The cooldown has been increased at all levels for the Omni Knight, so that definitely doesn't help in terms of his game. But
true.
We're rotating. They actually want the Tide versus the Lycan, it looks like. They want that matchup that we kind of discussed earlier in terms of how that is seen as a pretty nice counter pick.
Yeah, it's a good read from Newbie. Mugi was in that perfect spot up top where he was kind of behind the trees and safe near the tower, but also got that intel to see that Complexity were invading. And
we've talked enough about AA and tri-lanes that even if some of your heroes look pretty good and maybe some of their heroes look kind of bad, this time they have the AA and the Sand King, which is, I would say, an upgrade from the AA and the Earth Spirit that Liquid showed, and they destroyed. So, likewise, though, you could say Lifesteal is also a little bit better than Lycan and tri-lanes. So we're moving about. And this is much worse for the Omni Knight, too. He's going to have a much sadder time. And he was picked into a Oracle who can get rid of that Guardian's Angel, too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's very true. Not the Repel, though. So
no,
one thing to keep in mind.
Dispellable.
One of those mechanics that's been changed a couple of times, but the Repel is sort of the trump card against the Oracle in that regard. See our triple cams here as the lanes settle down. KP and Kaka up top. So it is a 2-1-2 coming out of Newbie, putting a lot of pressure on Moo in this bottom lane.
Yeah, this is great. They don't even need the Nyx Assassin down here. So just two kind of like big Broad Street bullies up top there. Kaka and KP.
The Broad Street Bullies. Look at you with the hockey reference. Shout out to Philadelphia. Trent, thank you for that.
I did that for you.
Well, I heard you loud and clear, buddy. Try laying up top seems to be going okay for the Lycan. You know, Tide kind of annoying in that 1v1 context with the Anchor Smash, but in this 1v3, KP has to be pretty conservative with his positioning in lane.
Yeah, not much you can do here. And coCA just going to go mid, and the level 1 mana burn. I personally, probably one of the funnest ways you can play Nyx Assassin, honestly. There's so many heroes you can make miserable with level 1 mana burn. If you can't get kills with a stun in lane anyway, just go mana burn some hero you don't like. Nature's Prophet, give him a mana burn. Puck, why'd you throw a mana burn? You got to trade your mana essentially 1 for 1, because you're paying 100 mana just to even use the damn spell. But it's worth it. I can tell you that.
It reminds me of the headbutt in MMA. You know, it hurts you a little bit, but it hurts the enemy more. Is that fair?
That's perfect. That is excellent. Well, coCA with an Arcane Rune, a lot of headbutt. He's going to have a Source Skull here. Yeah, head up against a brick wall.
In some trouble, perhaps. Jaunts back to the tower, and nope, coCA doesn't have a stun. So they'll let the puck get away. But now Limp, dry on mana, very little regen. To make that mid lane maybe a little more tough. Puck is dominating the last hits, though. 13-8 versus the 9-3 DP. So maybe dominating was a bit strong, but there is an advantage going the way of Fairy Trade. I got too excited, all right? Had a little too much coffee now. We went the other way.
Fair enough. Bottom lane, Moo has just, like, shoved this thing all the way up there. He's doing quite fine.
Getting blocked up top. Z-Freak did connect with a stun. No cold feet coming out of coL. And Tide will walk away.
That is his salve use, though, so slowly burning through that regen he has. That ward he is also helping out quite a bit, too.
Yeah, this dire observer up here. Rotation back up from coCA. Now level 2, so he does have a stun. Drops a sentry, and we'll be able to find the enemy sentry. Opens up that camp.
But he just...
Well, he blocked it himself, though. That's kind of weird.
He's just making sure. He's like, I don't want to hate creeps here. Don't want any shenanigans, I guess, coming out here from the side of coL.
Interesting. Down bottom. Homing missile going in onto Moo. He does have a repel, but not going to use it here. A couple of stick charges. Moo now pops the stick, and he'll be okay, but Faith putting in some extra damage. Those Purifying Flames, very close.
Yeah.
He will get healed back up, but oof, feel that pressure from the Oracle. This level 3 is really when Oracle gets scary. 180 damage on Purifying Flames.
Yeah, exactly. This is the best point when you're playing Oracle. Feels so good. Especially if you can get off like that Purifying Flames while it's flying on the Fortune's End. And then it like hits and dispels, and you guys just slap them again. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, relatively quiet laning stage, though. A lot of farming going on. 4 minutes in, still no first blood. All the cores just pretty stationary, working on those last hits. Support's trying to move around, but neither side really giving each other the opening. There is invisibility rune on Nyx, and he'll just use it for a mana burn.
They're trying to set for a kill on SCCC in the mid lane with that ward place, but it was spotted, so.
Well, up top, they are going to go onto KP. The Burrow Strike into Cold Feet, and this time they will have the damage for the kill. It's coL that gets the bonus gold. They even pull a rotation from the Oracle, but Faith unable to make the save.
I called that a mistake from KP. He saw the Sand King rotating back up top on his own ward there in the mid lane, and he just dies. I don't know, a little bit too easy.
Too far forward.
Yeah.
It's only a level 3 Tide.
He just got kind of baited out by his own ward, right? He's like, I don't think they're here. Everything's fine.
Yeah, he does have 2 points in that Kraken Shell, but not quite enough. Down bottom, Moo with a nice repel. Stops the stun from coCA, and now Z-Freak comes the other way. Purification on top. Moogie in a lot of trouble, and Z-Freak will give him that crab claw to secure the kill. Complexity up 2-0. Great start in this lane stage for them.
This is what we're looking for. This is what Complexity kind of they feel about their games. They want that early lead. This is how they envision themselves beating Newbie. And so it begins. Limp can be looking to start rotating here with that Dream Coil as he cracks into level 6.
And now Z-Freak, oh, the repel. Okay, it's a pretty good spell, I heard. He's just going to absorb the Fortune's End, absorb the homing missile, and that'll be the end of it.
Repel's going to be extremely valuable this game, but there's 11 seconds of downtime, so you certainly have to get those like really key moments for Moon this game. So I'd imagine it's going to be a mobility build, so he can try and keep up with the puck as well as the Lycan, more like those 4 staffs, even possibly a blink. That's kind of how I envision this game going for him.
Looks like Limp will go for the Veil of Discord early on. Likely, he does have the double Null Talisman, so usually the build you'll see gravitated towards, and also a bottle queued up for a little more sustainability. Right now, this Lycan is the big breadwinner, though. Chessie has been getting a lot of space up top. KP just can't pressure him the way that he wants to.
My God, those denies.
Yeah, he's #1 on net worth by a pretty big margin. 29 denies. Yeah, that'll add up.
Yeah, he's even with like a tri-lane, the experience is
I mean, look at this,
gap.
dude. This is, again, this reminds me of that Underlord from last game. This is a Tide Hunter. This is their beefcake in the front line, and they're able to just easily repel him.
Yeah, and what are you trading for, though? It's the farm on top of the Omni Knight, which, or sorry, on top of the Gyro Cop there for Moogie up against the Omni Knight.
Z-Freak almost gets brought down by the Oracle, but able to survive, just not quite enough damage. And now Moo, that 1 point in degen aura, going to be slowing down Faith as Z-Freak is looking to reinitiate. Burrow Strike does connect. There's the Purification. This combo is pretty nasty. Fate's Edict not going to be enough to save the Oracle, and it'll be another kill up for Complexity.
I really don't want to give this away. Just enabling Moo
now
into
top
that soul
lane.
ring and then further.
Kaka in some trouble here. coL with some body blocks, putting down the Icy Vortexes. Nice stun onto 1, but is it going to be enough? Not today. That makes it 4 as Complexity continue their reign of dominance.
That KP guy's just a sucker. I can totally survive in this lane. I'll just, oh, I'm dead. Well, it's tough. Like an AA.
It's brutal.
Running you down. They got the damage.
Yeah, Kyle showing us what that early game AA is all about.
I'd like to see maybe some aggressive maneuvers here from Limp soon, right? He's ready to go. Where's this Dream Coil? When's it coming out? Someone else going to come mid? We're going to kill SCCC?
I mean, in some ways, yeah, a rotation mid would be nice, but I think Limp's pretty happy to just sit mid and farm. It's like, hey, my other lanes are going great. I'm just going to stay here, occupy SCCC, make sure this tower stays safe, and also work on my own farm. He is #2 on net worth right now, maintaining that slight edge over the DP. So not surprised to see Limp hanging around in the lane to try to maintain that advantage. Down bottom, Z-Freak might find himself in a sticky situation. Nice deny on the rune from Faith. That's cheeky.
There was no win there. It's like if I walk and get the rune now, it's going to get dispelled. If I wait until I get rooted, he's going to right-click it and kill it. Excellent stuff there
Damned
from
if
Faith.
you do, damned if you don't, my
We
friend.
might be down 4 kills, but I got that rune.
Now 2,500 net worth lead for Complexity at only 8 minutes. Not too shabby. The real question is, will they be able to maintain it? This Omni Knight doing pretty well in the bottom lane. It's their safe lane off laner, as oxymoronic as that sounds. Now level 7, doesn't have that point in GA yet, but he's really off to a darn good start.
Darren Tootin.
And
Speaking
also
of,
the Helmet Dominator up on Chessie, first item.
Yeah, in terms of using level 6s, we're kind of waiting for that for Chessie, too. Just go into the wolf form. He can kill probably Kaka, honestly, if he's not too careful. Doesn't have Carapace yet. Like max speed summons running through would only need really 1 hero to help him. But he also does need mana, so Kaka taking care of that.
Chessie very aggressive, just trading right clicks with the Nyx Assassin. Kyle will rotate in, try to help him out, but Newbie will stay safe under that tower.
I like how he's saving the ult. Like, he could have just wanted and killed Kaka almost assuredly, but I think he's just saying that there's more valuable plays likely to be had here, and KP, he does not have the Ravage yet. This is not the best time for Moogie to rotate in.
There has been a
ulti.
TP. The ulti gets used. Now the call down. Also, SCCC channels his TP. 4 heroes top. Complexity just want to get out. Kyle tries to TP home, and he makes it. It's a close call, but he will live.
Oh,
and, of course, with that
baits.
movement speed, Chessie will just head back to friendly territory. So that's a pretty big win for Complexity. They force a couple TP rotations, and no kills come out on the side of the Dire.
Yeah, all 3 cores up top. And that's all because there's no Ravage. And why doesn't he have Ravage? Well, because there's 32 denies on this Lycan. Or he'd have Ravage, probably.
Faith gets caught by Z-Freak. It's a 3-on-1. Not much he can do. Great read from Complexity, knowing that those TPs just went to the top lane. Nobody can come in to save him, so they commit near the tier 2 and find their 5th kill of the game. Now up to a 3K lead. Ice Blast up top, connects onto Moogie. No follow-up, but we'll start to repel this push.
Yeah, looks like they're going to try and get something out of all these rotations with the DD room, with the Exorcism, but Oracle trying to survive down bot because he wants that level 6, and with that death, that slows him down. Now it's KP's turn to try and soak 6 in the bot.
Yeah, Newbie are trying to make the most out of this rotation. There's a double damage rune on SCCC. The Death Prophet will go ahead and use the Exorcism, forces out the Complexity glyph pretty early on. The Tide Hunters moved bottom, and right now Oracle just trying to absorb some of that XP in the mid lane. Really won't be a successful push, though. First Exorcism gets repelled when it's at about half duration. Basically no damage on the tower.
He actually connects with the long-range Ice Blast. It might be enough for Limp to get a kill here.
Yeah, Dream Coil and Z-Freak, that'll do it. Burrow Strike helps, sets it up 6-0.
And With the Lycan pushing forward, Chessie's almost back in the ultimate, another 30 seconds, but doesn't even need it because once again, Tide is showing bot lane. He has the Ravage. Is he going to go top? He's hiding, maybe baiting that he's gone already.
Yep, does have that TP available and off cooldown. Z-Freak just teleported to the bottom lane, so he will be stuck here for a little while unless he wants to walk across the map. Just trying to repel this push, as up top, Chessie has finished off that tier 1 tower, and now this will open up that dire jungle for Complexity to start roaming inward.
This AA just helping to dominate that tri-lane's top has just given that lead that you want. You know, we talked about how it was going to look if Complexity were going to win this game, the kind of things that they need to get done early on, and all easily achieved because of that victory in that lane. The other matchups didn't really matter. Doesn't necessarily matter how much the puck gets or how many kills he gets if you're so active up there. And it's like the opposite problem for like Ori, where it was like his tri-lane's losing, so he's pressured to respond, and so he gets slowed down. But now
bottom lane, Ice Blast. The epicenter gets channeled by Z-Freak, but not able to burrow strike in. The right idea, but unfortunately falls short for Complexity. I just Merlini'd that. I hyped up the potential, not the play.
Well, wrapping around now from Chessie. And there is an exorcism in another 30 seconds, but there is a wolf farm available now. So,
you know, honestly, this is reminding me of the last game a little bit, the way Complexity are playing this. They dominated the lanes, and now we're seeing this sort of death ball move around. They force a glyph mid pretty easily as they pressure that tier 1 tower, and another rotation from KP. As soon as they see the rotation, they just back up and make it difficult to actually use that Ravage. Up top, Ice Blast just slightly off the mark, so not going to find a kill there, but Chessie has channeled the ultimate. Moogie will TP out, almost gets that interrupt with the Centaur War Stomp, but again, falls just short. But even so, I mean, look at KP. He went bottom
lane. Z-Freak.
Is he going to get caught here? Spirit Siphon. There's the Sandstorm. Burrow Strike out. Kaka does have a stun.
Greedy, dude.
And he doesn't use it. He stays in the Vendetta form and walks into tower. That would have been a kill on Z-Freak.
Yeah, he tried to carapace the Caustic. I don't think he got it. And then he didn't go for the damage. And then the Burrow Strike was away. And I think he was trying to give the kill over to SCCC, but whoopsie. And now Limp will be the one to find. That's Triple C. Ice Blast is prepared, but this would be a lot of damage. Still a pretty tanky Death Prophet.
Yeah, you know, let her walk away here. Level 11 Puck with a Veil of Discord. Definitely very scary. And oh, hello there, Faith. What are you doing? Farming some neutrals? That's cool.
Not a tanky hero.
I'm just going to use that Dream Coil for a little celebration dance.
Yeah, just a little campfire over by the shrine.
Easy pickoff. All right, well, the snowball continues. 5,000 net worth lead. Now, I really feel bad for KP in this game. I feel like Complexity are playing around this Tidehunter so well. He's found his level 8, but he has had no opportunity to Ravage. He TP'd down bottom to get some farm, got repelled there, TP'd mid, and then had to walk all the way back up top. I'll see Moo pop his repel as he walks away from SCCC. But so far, Complexity have found this kind of magical point where they're grouping up a lot to take down towers, but also not giving Tide opportunities for big Ravages.
Yeah, Newbie are going to try and bounce back here with a smoke down bottom while the ult is top.
AA connects on SCCC, and he gets evaporated. Repel on top of the epicenter, no chance to react.
Yeah, that was supposed to be a bait for the smoke coming in. And, well, they took the bait. It was just a little bit too quick.
They killed him too fast. Yeah, now 3 heroes moving down bottom. Maybe they can find Z-Freak, but he's got a Blink Dagger. Yeah. Kaka might be able to initiate here. Nope, Z-Freak blinks into the tree line. Does have a TP in the backpack. It won't even need to use it. Also a triple stack here for the newbie Ancients, so something the Gyrocopter will want to take out, and maybe something that Complexity can try to invade.
Let's go through the checklist of the newbie heroes here. Nyx Assassin, get a kill at level 6 with the Vendetta. Death Prophet, get a tower with Exorcism early on in the game. Gyrocopter, try and find some good rotations with some early ultis. That's a big And how about a Ravage early on to get a kill? Might be a
Yep, it's coming up all NA Dota right now. I mean, for Complexity, I don't think this could be going better right now. Still haven't conceded a single death. All 3 of their cores are top of the net worth.
They slowed down a bit, I would say.
They've slowed down a little, but isn't that partially to fight around item timings? I mean, Lycan has just picked up his Necronomicon level 1.
Yeah, but then, like, I mean, things could have gone better, is what I'm saying. Because, like, they almost had the kill up top. That's the things that Liquid was doing, right? The things where, like, there are chances to get back in this game are happening for Newbie, where, like, they're finding some waves. Their levels are actually still coming in on some of these cores. That kill up top, when they had the Centaur coming through and getting the gyro. In Liquid's game, they were hitting those ridiculous plays. You're like, oh my god, they just made that happen. Oh, they just did it again. Oh, there's no hope left in this game for Vici Gaming. Those things aren't necessarily there. Obviously, Complexity are still well ahead, and certainly in a good spot to take this one, but Newbie are finding a little bit of space here.
JP, bottom lane, again, the initiation is there. Ice Blast connects, and the tide gets cut in half, and maybe this bottom tier 1 tower will be soon to follow. I feel like maybe part of the reason Complexity have slowed down is fear of that Ravage, realizing that one way Newbie can win a team fight despite this big gold lead is with a well-placed Ravage on top of a follow-up Nyx stun with call down and all that AoE team fight. I interpret that as Complexity just respecting the power of Newbie's draft despite being so far ahead.
Yeah, definitely. The other problem for Newbies, they want to use it after the Lycan is ultied so that they can start playing around that cooldown. And then we'll have like Lycan and Ravage are timed at the same. And if we can Ravage him every time he's in wolf form, we might be able to get control of this game back.
Eul's Scepter onto Omni Knights and follow-up stuns. The call down, silence will be enough to find the kill on Moo. But now Ice Blast, Epicenter, it's going to be huge. It connects on 3. They lose Kaka first. Limp with a decent Dream Coil does help set up the kill onto Mugi, who will shatter, but it's going to cost him their Z-Freak, and Faith will end that 5x mega kill streak. So it's 2 for 2, but the difference here is that Newbie committed their entire team for that, and Complexity were still a bit spread with Ancient Apparition farming in the mid the whole time. So will be a gold advantage to Newbie regardless, given that they are so far behind. That just makes a dent here, Trent. Complexity still with a very comfortable lead. Yeah,
they certainly need a lot more of those. But at the very least, they took something good without a Ravage here. And that first use of the Eul is like, yeah, maybe the Exorcism hasn't been working out too well, but nice little setup for the Nyx Assassin. Counterplay from Kyle, though. Like, this could have gone even better for Newbie if Mugi was able to get off a bit more damage in this engagement.
Yeah, relatively close there for the Omni Knight. Silence, of course, locking him down very effectively. Still has not leveled up the Guardian Angel, despite being level 11. Maybe not terribly surprising, given, as we talked about, Oracle is able to dispel it, so maybe a less viable spell than normal. But the upside is he's got a maxed out Repel and a maxed out Purification, so a lot of magic immunity, and of course that first damage.
Are they going to go for this?
Kaka, yep, he's going to get caught, but he does have the Spike Carapace on. Going to be a hard kill to finish off as Z-Freak does dust him.
Yeah, he blocked the Burrow Strike damage. Might be enough to save him.
Yeah, meanwhile, in the dire jungle here, looks like a fight is starting to break out.
Kaka with the jukes.
Chessie has channeled the ultimate. There is a Ravage available, so Complexity need to be a little bit careful about how they take this fight. Homing missile flying in.
Looks like they coiled for that, so Complexity maybe just diving a little bit here without everyone available. And I'm maybe trying to bait out a Ravage as well, because we still haven't seen it. KP waiting for that perfect moment.
Yeah. Now Moo is going to get caught by a stun. The Ravage flies. They really want this Omni Knight. Limp will get clipped on the low ground. Moo drops the Purification and sets up the turn onto Kaka as Limp jumps in. So again, even when Newbie do find these pickoffs, Complexity are at least making them even trades rather than just throwing away bodies.
Got the Omni again at the very least, though.
It's something. It's definitely not bad for Newbie, but not the worst thing for Complexity either.
I think he feels all right using it because he saw the wolf form too, so it's just some time where Lycan can't just shove into a tower when you don't have the ulti available.
I mean, when you're behind this much this early on, if you can trade that ultimate for even 1 kill for the team, I think it feels completely worth it.
Yeah, as long as it's one of these cores.
Yeah, kind of like that Magnus type feel. You know, if you can catch an RP on 1 core, do it.
Yeah, and the Omni Knight too has been quite the issue because he can essentially freely split push any lane. As annoying as the Oracle can be, they, as we talked about, have nothing for the Repel, so he can just like Repel TP in a lot of situations.
Yeah. Well, maybe some rotations again. Complexity smoked up. Very aggressive posture in the enemy jungle. SCCC just farming away right now, and he'll be the first one caught. The Ice Blast comes in, but a nice save from Oracle. Dream Coil locking them down. Faith will fall, and I think SCCC will still die. Not enough healing to come out, and it ends up being 2 dead as Complexity set their sights on the objective in the Roche Pit, the big boy.
That puts Limp up into level 15 right now. Who else on their team? Like 15 for Limp, 13 for Chessie, 12 for Moo. Oh.
Gets a little too cocky in the mid lane there under the tower. Just gets stunned up by the Nyx, and they've got the damage.
Well, you can't do that. I mean, the counter of Nyx versus Puck showing off there.
Maybe Trent, this was a next level strat so that his team could finish off Roche. Newbie thinking there's no way Puck would do that if his team was in the Roche Pit, and it does kind of work out. They get the Aegis onto Chessie, and they will be able to walk away. Kaka getting close to the pit, now taking some damage himself. Ice Blast will connect on 2. Kaka falls, and now Faith on the run. He pops the tome before he dies, and they will chase him down.
He's a bit too chilled. He's chilling everybody. This is like the puppy Ice Blast, man.
And that's also the level 3 Necro book onto Chessie, so his damage output has actually gone up quite a bit since that last fight.
The old AAs have been on point so far in this tournament.
16-4. Looking at that gold graph, things have plateaued a little bit. Feels like Newbie have bandaged the bleeding for now, but it is definitely complexity in that driver's seat. And as things are continuing to scale, Chessie is pulling further and further away from the pack in terms of farm.
Yeah, the two brothers.
Wolf pack, if you will, Trent.
If you will. Feels like a game of the two brothers for sure, though, in terms of Z-Freak and coL, right? They've got the majority of the involvement here. 6-1-3 for the Sand King, 4-0-8 for coL. Stealing all the kills from their core players.
Gyrocopter working on his BKB while the rest of his team smokes up in the mid. He's actually just about got that recipe. Classic build, the phase, drum, BKB.
Yeah, they're hoping that they were attempting a gank onto him, but that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to bait out this Gyrocopter, and looks like coL perhaps reading the situation quite well.
They're busy pushing down bottom. They're all clumped up down here.
They're also baiting, waiting for a response.
Z-Freak and Moo both hiding in the trees. Also that Yule's Scepter up on the Omni Knight. So in those last couple of fights where he's been locked down by the silence, he will now have a reset tool, which could be a big game changer.
He can also just run through and like find the Oracle. Like if Oracle doesn't get controlled by Puck or Sand King, he can just use the Oracle at those primo moments.
Trent,
too.
look how scary this is.
Yeah,
They're going to trade tier 2 for tier 1. Up top, Complexity's tier 1 still has 700 HP as they go straight for the high ground. KP maybe in some trouble here. Dream Coil on 2. The silence. Ice Blast only hits the tide. The follow-up isn't quite there, but still the tier 3 has gone down. This Lycan pushes so damn fast. That's all they needed to unlock shrines at 22 minutes. Now in the backline, Z-Freak channels the Epi, gets the purification, and down goes Faith. KP silence, not even going to be able to ravage here. He doesn't have enough mana. Even if he could, that Lycan mana drain hurts. The Guardian Angel comes. There's no way to dispel it. SCCC in a lot of trouble. Buyback now from KP. He needs this ravage. BKB from Moogie. Maybe they can turn this around. Z-Freak and Moo will fall. Limp trying to make the exodus. Silence coming out on both sides. He will get Yule's Sceptered, and it will be hard for him to survive this one. So Complexity commit deep. It does cost them. However, they force out a buyback and get that tier 3 tower. Maybe now even losing 4 as coL gets caught by that homing missile. He will get finished off.
Okay, I don't know how you feel about that as Newbie. It's almost a wash at this point, honestly. It kind of felt like they were doomed to lose the tier 3 anyway, and they managed to get quite a bit of gold out of it, like 1,150 on the Death Prophet, but at the same time, I'm sure coL are also quite happy with this. Getting tier 3 with a Lycan team is virtually guaranteed shrines, which is even more gold, more space around the map, so their early game push still continues, but they have stopped the bleeding a bit here from Newbie.
So taking a look at the replay here.
It was such good control in KP, this whole fight.
Perfect
that was
initiation from Z-Freak. The Ice Blast, if it hit the Oracle there, maybe would have been an even easier kill. The hyper-aggression to start this fight from Complexity was just about perfect. It made the space for Chessie to kill the tower. This is the point where they maybe should have considered retreating. You understand the temptation from Z-Freak. It's a great pick on Faith. Yeah,
but it just made sure like SCCC can't do much for the rest of this fight, though. You know what I mean? Like he can play so much more aggressive if the Oracle's there, and instead he's way back here.
The problem is not just the buyback from the tide, but that BKB from Moogie. This Gyrocopter comes at the perfect time, and that's really what allows them to punish that dive so hard.
I think this is like that difference, though, in terms of the gyros. Like people who've been successful in those super early game gyros have been extremely impressive. The Matu from last game, and again, Miracle, no one are the other two that really stand out to me, at least. And a lot of these other games where gyros have been in, like, there's a reason we've seen so many rapiers, because gyros are losing for the most part. You know, they are not rotating early. They're not snowballing. They're not getting the game ahead. They're saying, oh, geez, guys, what happened the rest of the game when I was up there farming? Oh, I got to buy a rapier? Oh, what were you guys doing?
It's a pretty good gyro.
Maybe he should show up to some fights every once in a while and you wouldn't buy a rapier.
But down bottom, they know KP doesn't have Ravage. It's down for another 30 seconds, and they're just charging up to the high ground. Chessie channels the ultimate. He's got BKB and Aegis. We've seen how this story goes, Trent, but without Ravage, it's going to be tough for Newbie. BKB from Chessie is popped. He's running around the back lines. Now starting to focus on barracks. I think Complexity may just back up and reset. The DP is use the Exorcism. If they can get away from this, it'll be an Exorcism wasted.
Oh, Z-Freak looking for the counter initiation, though.
Oh, the beautiful epicenter. BKB from Moogie mitigates some of it, but they are starting to go in onto Kaka. The rest of Complexity have backed up. Z-Freak makes it into the tree line. I don't know he'll be able to survive this one, though. Burrow strike to the high ground. He does have a TP, but Fortune's End is there, and this looks like it will be the end of the Sand King as he tries to force staff out of the map. Limp did also fall on the backside. Two down for Complexity.
Watch out, ladies. I mean, this is what we're worried about. I told you, Newbie have done this quite a few times. We've seen the strategy from them. They're very good at it.
That one was just too deep. You know, I understand the temptation. There's no Ravage, so it seems like a good time to fight, but not focusing on the structures there did seem to cost him.
Oh, and this is one of the worst feelings in Dota, isn't it? When you've got this huge snowball, you're like, this game is over. They have no hope, no chance whatsoever. Let's go high ground again. And things don't work out. You know, things start to go a little bit south, and you start saying things like, okay, I guess I need this item. And like, oh, okay, yeah, I need this item. I got to get this. And then your pushes get delayed a little bit more.
Yeah.
And longer delays between fights means better Ravages, better Exorcisms. Gyrocopter and DP are going to get some items even after these buybacks expended by Newbie. Might actually get some stuff popping out here.
That first push from Complexity where they got the tier 3 tower, it felt good because it opened up shrines, but the issue is that it gave Mugi so much momentum. Look at that net worth. He is right behind the Lycan. And might be able to even close that gap. He's got a butterfly almost completed, just a couple hundred gold away from that Talisman of Evasion. And that is not an item that they can really deal with too effectively. I mean, Lycan, of course, can buy an MKB, but that's going to be a ways off and not really an ideal item on him.
Yeah, he's basically just going to have to suffer through it for most of the game, honestly.
So it could be a potential game changer. They will get this shrine in the Dire jungle. Kaka kind of scouting things out here with his Yule's Scepter. Aghanim's queued up, but still pretty far away.
Oh, man. Yeah, Solar Crest and Butterfly is just going to be... Whew.
This Gyro's going to be hard to kill. I mean, they do still have a lot of magic.
Kaka setting up here.
But he's also got a BKB.
Tried to get the silence there from Limp to save Moo. But yeah, he really...
Repel going to keep him safe. Homing missile mitigated. Now on the other side, S-Triple-C being chased down by Chessie.
Oracle's
That's
coming.
A fresh BKB on the Death Prophet. And it seems like Complexity might just back out. They have some detection, so they are going to go in onto Kaka. Those Necronomicon units do reveal, or at least the melee one does. Yeah. But no real follow-up. Still kind of a win for Complexity. I think if you're Chessie right now, you're all right to trade your Shapeshift for the 10-second BKB on the Death Prophet.
Yeah, getting these shrines down too. They're just kind of creating more space, slowly whittling through them. Although Mugi does get the Necro last hit.
Ooh, that's actually a pretty decent chunk of gold.
Yeah. And they will have to worry about this bottom lane a lot, though, of course, as it was pushed in. They lost that tier 3, and Z-Freak's just going to camp around here. Likewise, Limp in the top lane doing the same thing. As Kaka has to try and eliminate the waves.
Also, Z-Freak going for the Spirit Vessel. I think a great item to have against an Oracle as well as a Death Prophet.
What is he doing? He's just sandstorming with... He's like, guys, look, I know exactly where the wave's going to come. I'm just going to start sandstorming now so it's ready again. This is some next level Dota.
Yeah. Second shrine goes down, so those money bags in the jungle will be realized and Complexity get a little bump in the income.
Yeah, they're stabilizing right now. They're buying the gem on the AAA. They're saying, okay, we know we need this next Roche. Let's pull it back a little bit here. We still need some of that aggression, but we can't go too crazy.
50 seconds until Roche respawns, so pretty average timing in this one. Complexity won't have to wait too much longer to get that Aegis and Cheese. However, I also feel like Newbie can definitely contest the Roche Pit. They've got an incredible team for it. Tidehunter, Gyrocopter, and DP.
He's the big question mark. It's
amazing
that,
Roche Warriors.
It's that Blink Dagger. If KP can farm it up before Roche fight occurs, which is unlikely. Oh, top lane. Ice Blast comes through onto Mugi. And they won't have the damage to finish it. Oh my god, that actually finished him? My
It's a level 3 Dream Coil.
Coil's actually insane at this point with Ice like with the Ice Blast on top of it. I mean,
so without Aghanims and you break the coil, it's 500 damage. So enough to get him into the Shatter Threshold. Just not quite doing the math on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, if he didn't TP, he probably would have died either way. So you got to go for that. But
he has a BKB.
You make a good point, my friend. Okay, I take that back. He did have a BKB, so there was a condition to survive there. Down bottom, Z-Freak initiated on by Kaka. S-Triple-C going to follow up, and this could be the end of the Sand King. He's silenced, but forced staff to the high ground.
Oh, this is probably going to be the BKB for Gyro.
Is he going to interrupt Kaka's TP? No, he heads back home. And now focusing up top, 4 members of Complexity, posturing like they want to push. Howl from the Lycan used, but seems they are just going to back up now that Newbie are in a position to defend.
Oh, man, you want to push that so hard, though, if you got a Gyro buyback right now. And then he dies to the roast fight. That could actually just be game. But speaking of the roast fights, it's that time. And they...
This is great timing, though. They kill Roche so fast with the medallion and all of the summons. With Gyro dead, he does not want to buy back for this. And with all that considered, Newbie cannot contest this.
Good twist by coL. Pull on back here. All right, so what do we have for our sneaky little snaps here this time? Just the Force Staff for old Z-Freak here. So, see if we can break that Scepter coil.
It's interesting how this has kind of become a core item on Puck. You know, I remember when the Aghanims was introduced, it was seen as kind of gimmicky, something that you get very occasionally, maybe against life stealers or other BKB carriers when you have no way to disable them through that Magic community. But now it seems pretty much regardless, like, you know, this makes Dream Coil really ridiculous.
Yeah, not only are we in a pretty big BKB meta right now, but it's also just, it's an insane amount of damage.
And an insane stun duration.
Yeah.
Z-Freak down bottom, going to be hiding in the tree line as Newbie rotate 4. He's going to get bumped into by Kaka, and oh no, this could be the end of the Sand King. Force Staff, Burrow Strike, but he gets dusted. No. Nowhere for the SK to go.
Kaka missed everything. The only thing he hit was the Yules. He missed the dust. He missed the Burrow.
Complexity was smoked up. They're going to bump into Moogie. He'll use the BKB, but the Dream Coil tether gets snapped straight away. Great stun on 2 from the Nyx as he clips the line.
Kaka's back, baby.
Buyback from Z-Freak. This could be a good fight for Complexity as they use the GA. Oracle survives through it. SCCC is alive for now. He has that fresh Eon Disc as the Ravage flies. Moo trying to stay alive, and now it's Complexity running out of resources. The counter initiation was there. Aegis from the Lycan will be utilized, and now his teammates are starting to drop. Sand King has no choice but to retreat, and Chessie, without BKB or Shapeshift, running out of options, can't make it to the tree line, and it is Newbie all day. 3-for-0 exchange, and also bringing down the Aegis. Huge fight and huge gold swing of nearly 3,000.
You ever hear tough love? You know, that was tough love. You gotta bring Kaka back in. You know, Kaka, you're missing your spells. You're missing your dusts. What are you doing? Instantly hits the biggest stun of this entire game because they're trying to just run this guy down. They just want to blow somebody up, and Kaka's like, no. And I mean, that was the buyback from Z-Freak. You know, he won it back in that fight. That was supposed to be the game-winning fight where we just get a roach and we take full control here. So, Moogie, this is the big moment right here. He has the BKB. He snaps that coil. Oh, my God. Moogie's going to die. Look, oh, just kidding.
That's the stun.
Instantly. None of that damage goes out now.
That is the perfect time to try to lock that Lycan down. And now Z-Freak in some trouble. Yule's Scepter again, but silence. Follow-up crowd controls. Burrow Strike into the tree line. Will be a dieback for Z-Freak if he falls. Spirit Siphon stealing some of that HP as the Crypt Swarm connects. The Crab Claw from Kaka helps secure it. A slam dunk.
How they have dealt with Z-Freak this game. They know he's just living down here, right? This is his home. He just exists in that full area of the map. And they put up the Tinker Ward. That's just helping them slay him. Easy peasy.
Oh, yeah. You're right. They had full vision that whole time. Way up here. Great ward spot. Well, it's still Complexity with a minuscule gold advantage, but it's basically zeroed out. Newbie have completely reset this game, and after that slow start, KP has now become a monster. They have the gem that Kyle picked up before that fight, so even compounding losses for Complexity. Not only losing, buying back, but also handing that gem over. Tier 2 tower mid falls. Still some outer towers keeping Complexity's base safe, but the momentum has completely shifted here, Trent.
And back they go, and no real worries here. It doesn't feel like for Moogie. In fact, he's distinctly not worried with that Aghanim Scepter. That's the, this could be a while. Do you guys care if I build Nags? That's got to be a team. You got to ask if they're building Nags at 35 minutes on Gyro. You need permission, or else you're getting kicked, I think.
You're right. It's kind of a peculiar item choice. We really don't see the Aghanim's Gyro come out too often. Of course, it is the side gunner, so he'll have those extra auto attacks coming in. I always think about the lifesteal being the big one. If you get stunned, that side gunner can still do some damage and lifesteal for you. Also the Maelstrom, getting all that extra damage, but he just wants the rapier. He's got it queued up. So he's going for big right clicks. Okay.
Hey, you were right the first time, don't worry. But
so back to Satanic.
What's great about Aghanims, though, it is extremely heavy in the HP. That is one thing about the item, and what's the main concern for him this game? Probably that coil snap is a big deal, just in case it happens. So 700 HP against Magic, kind of nice.
That is true. It definitely beefs him up, and the Satanic will do a lot down that route as well. I like this item build so far.
Yeah, magic damage all over the place with the AA too.
Gyrocopter farming very nicely, pleasantly seated at #1 on the net worth.
That smoke was not spotted just because the wolf was coming through, and so just following the DP, they might feel a little bit safer here, but they can't quite catch Moo in time.
Yeah, smoke will get revealed. KP blinks forward, maybe looking for a potential Ravage initiation, but instead they find Kyle.
Kyle's living because of the Ice Vortex. He's too fast.
And the Force Staff on Z-Freak definitely
no, we ignore
helping.
that. It's the Ice Vortex.
Are they just going to dive him under this tower? I think so. Kaka pops the Spike Carapace, gets off the Yule's Scepter, and this Ancient Apparition will suffer an unfortunate fate as the Iceman gets melted.
Dude, the pin curse is real. They were so far ahead. coL they might lose this game. The puck, back to doing exactly what we saw in the last game, trying to cut some waves. Push out this bottom lane.
You know, you're just like that groundhog that predicts the length of winter. You're really calling it, dude.
I got it.
High ground siege begins. Glyph gets utilized. There is no buyback on Kyle, so this will be a 5v4 for 30 seconds. With the Exorcism, this tier 3 taking a lot of damage, but Limp jumps in, Dream Coil on 3, does some okay damage, but there's just no follow-up until Z-Freak comes in with the Exorcism. It just tickles.
There's no
Chessie on the back line, doing a lot of damage to Faith, but he gets off the False Promise. He might still be able to survive through this as Moo pops the GA and the Repel. They finish off the melee barracks, range still standing, and now this Omni Knight set to go down. No buyback on Moo. Ravage connects on Chessie, so he can't make it out, and now this Lycan will go down. No buyback on him either. Almost a shame for Newbie that they don't have any other tier 2 towers down, because this is the only lane of barracks they'll be able to secure.
Yeah, you know coL aren't giving up this easy, though.
No,
they want to chase.
He jumps out, the follow-up from Limp. Newbie could still come back in and try to clean this up. They were ready to retreat, and Complexity will hand over a few more kills before they make the Exodus. 3 down, no buybacks. Newbie, not sure what the buyback status is. They're going to play it safe, and they will just retreat.
There's also no gyrocopter here, too, so it's hard to keep pressing on forward.
True.
Tier 2 top, tier 2 bot. Not really a whole lot to gain. They want another quick grab on a Kyle.
Back-to-back deaths on Kyle could be bad here. It's a nice stun from Z-Freak, but it does not keep the Ancient Apparition alive. The fake back from Newbie catches Complexity unaware, and what started as just a lane of barracks and maybe 1 or 2 kills basically turned into a team wipe across all that.
Kaka just baiting? I don't know what that was. He just really wanted to get stunned, I guess. He just TPs on the high ground. I don't know.
I think he's just taunting. You know, like, I got Kyle's gem.
Hey guys,
just look
this.
at it.
You're going to make him stun me. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. But anyway, Kaka will limp his way to safety.
So, Trent, I'm going to ask you the hard question again.
Yep.
I need you to role play for me.
Okay.
You're Complexity's coach. We're in the alternate reality where you're talking to him right now.
God, can you imagine?
What is the win condition?
What is the... Well, I mean, you got Lycan. You're trying one big go, right?
I suppose.
Explode.
I mean, it feels like Chessie went from really great start, I just destroyed your bottom tier 3 tower at 20 minutes, to I'm being handled in every single team fight.
They got to rat like crazy. They need that same kind of focus where if they take a fight, they got to blow up something like this gyrocopter, but much easier said than done.
So you're thinking kind of like, get that AC, get the BOTs up on Lycan, and just engage the rat.
A little bit of that, but mostly it's just like the vision game, like the Wolves are going through. You just want to spot what Newbie are doing. They're a 5-man heavy team fight lineup. That's how they've been winning this game. But if you can keep these tier 2s, you have a much better shot at it. So someone needs to focus bot, someone needs to focus top, and force at least that they have to go right through your tier 4s. And that time he doesn't miss a stun on Limp.
Oh, Limp. That's another gem down.
Tier 4s, tier 4s.
They're doing it.
They don't want tier 2s.
Oh no, Complexity, they're smoked up out of the base.
Look at Faith. He smokes himself in the back too because he knows as long as he survives, he's going to have the ulti there. What's their initiation?
Okay, here's Faith. He is going to break the smoke as they come up to the high ground. There is a glyph for the Radiant. Faith will have the false promise. He gets it off. KP has the Ravage, and it flies. Complexity in big trouble. 2 down without buyback. This could be the end of the game as Chessie in the shapeshift form tries to make it back to the well, but he gets caught by the Yules. The follow-up stun. No buybacks. Epicenter. The tickler, if you will. Not going to do a hell of a lot as the tier 4s fall. And now this throne is exposed, and Complexity moments away from a loss.
There it is.
On the flip side, have just now secured themselves a seat in the main event of the Bucharest Major with $1 million on the line.
Man, you can't sleep on that Newbie team fight. Time and time again, they find their way back in these games by this ridiculous combination. You know, it usually starts off with something like Ravage, and then AoE follow-up from the Silence, from the Death Prophet, the damage from the Gyrocopter. Where did Mugi come from that game? You know, we talked about how he just wasn't that active early on, but he made the best out of it when they had those high ground engagements, and coL, they just missed that window. Jofi, she's a bit worried on that one, it looks like.
An intense game. You look at that gold graph, and it tells quite the story. A pretty good lead for the team with the Lycan. Well, you're thinking, hey, we're going to snowball. They just destroyed that tier 3 tower, but oh, wait, Gyrocopter's got a BKB. How do we handle this?
Usually it's when a team wins that we say, Navi are back. But in this case, coL are back. That looked like most complexity games in their history.
Yep.
They take a big early lead, and they lose it.
So we do have some highlights from this game going back to the early game when Complexity were ahead. Mu really did get a lot done in this laning phase. This is before the Yule Scepter came out, so he does go down here, but you can see the turn. Z-Freak with a great epicenter, the follow-up Ice Blast. Complexity were doing so well early on.
Yeah, I mean, reminiscent of that Liquid game, too, that Complexity were a part of, you know? They were the team on the, again, they were just kind of getting stomped, destroyed, but found those first couple big fights and then just took the game from there. And, I mean, this time I think it was a lot easier to see, like, the possibility of that coming, right? You kind of know. You understand. Tidehunter. In terms of big comeback games, Tidehunter, Darkseer, Earthshaker.
This is it right here. The play that looked so good for Complexity to start. They initiate aggressively. The Lycan focuses on objectives.
Yep.
They try to lock down these heroes. They reinitiate to find the kills. You see Z-Freak again sneaky in the trees with a great epicenter. But this is where the overcommitment comes. They bring down the Tide. They look at this Death Prophet and go, hey, guys, I think this is another free kill. I have the GA. Let's keep pushing this. And that's when Mugi shows up.
Yeah, and Kaka, as much shit I was giving him, he has amazing plays this game, honestly. Tons of multi-man impales throughout the engagement. Lots of setups from his Yules, just following through, getting those key heroes. He saved the biggest fight of the entire game down bottom just to ensure that coL were going to lose any sense of momentum that they had left. And, well, here it is right now. This Mugi was in danger.
Yeah, this is it. He snaps the coil.
Not expecting that.
Right after the puck Aghanims comes out, and we're thinking, oh no, this is so bad for Mugi, but then Kaka is there to save the day. They turn this fight around. You know, the GA comes out, but it really didn't feel very effective this game, and not even just because of the Oracle's ability to dispel it. It just was sort of a non-factor. KP had a great Ravage here. It broke up the fight and swung things way back into Newbie's favor. They actually took this one without losing a single hero. Yeah,
we always talk about like damage types during the draft and everything, and they had a great balance of that too for Newbie. So the GA wasn't, as you said, that big of a factor. It was more so the Repel, but Repel has a huge downtime, even at level 4. You're looking at 11 seconds and one target.
Yeah, it was the opportunity cost. It's not dispellable, but now you have that guaranteed downtime. This was that mid lane of Barracks where it started, okay, we picked off the Ancient Apparition, we're going to get the Barracks. They get another set of kills here, and then Newbie start to back up a little bit.
Yeah, just in and out, back in. Oh, let's kill another guy. Oh, Kyle, you're back. Okay, we can kill you too. That's cool. Just total domination. And if it wasn't for the tier 2s in both lanes, it could have been the game right there. But this was the final one. Faith in the back lines, forcing the initiation onto himself. And manages to save himself, but it wouldn't even have mattered, right? It just means that my cores aren't being initiated on, so it's a catch-22. Well, they had no option.
It's just a beautiful read. I think that play at the end speaks to Faith's experience as a player. You know, we were talking about him on the opening panels. He's had sort of a standout performance this tournament. You know Complexity are smoked up somewhere in that situation when you're pushing the tier 4s. You know that they're going to try to come from behind, and what does he do? He intercepts the gank. Worst case scenario, I die first. My team can react and counter-initiate.
Like, as long as I'm not burrow striked with someone else, that's fine. As long as you can't stun me and kill a core, then I don't care. Kill me. Go ahead.
The positioning there, I would have called that a really heads-up play. Using the smoke to get the intel before they initiate on him, that's what makes it a godlike play.
I had the Glimmer Cape too. Could just like pop that on himself.
Very
what
impressive.
A guy.
So scoreboard, let's see the final tally of this epic match. It was a close one. Nobody with a flawless victory this go-around, but Mugi on that gyrocopter doing the big damage and carrying his team.
Yeah, didn't feel like too much of a huge MVP effort by anyone in terms of like no one really stood out like crazy to me, at least on the side of Newbie. If anyone, like SCCC was very, he got that Yule Scepter and was able to start making a couple plays, even though the game was a little bit dangerous. Maybe I'd give it to Kaka, honestly, in terms of like individual efforts and stuff, and the way some Nyx Assassins have been struggling. The itemization on the Aghanim Scepter just kind of guaranteed those later fights. Like, how do you deal with that? It is so irritating. There were numerous fights where he just can't be killed, and then you have an Oracle who's healing someone else. Yeah, I guess that's who I would probably hand it to, but it's a team effort, right? So
I'm with it. I think I could go with Kaka as well, and there he is, your MVP chosen for this game. My runner-up probably would have been KP. You know, you spoke about Tide as a comfort pick for him, but he had such a slow start that game. His ability to recover and still get those good ravages always impresses me.
Yeah, 22 kills, or 24 kills for Newbie, and he was a part of 22 of them. What a guy. I guess all of them, honestly. Mugi was 21.
There was a lot of team fighting.
SCCC was 21. Man, they were the 5-man ball was quite real.
Yeah, definitely a great performance from Kaka. And like you mentioned, so many multi-hero stuns. And on Nyx Assassin, that is no easy feat with very little setup on top of that.
And he even had 2 gems at the end of the game, which is better than 1.
Wow.
1 for each eye.
Okay.
What a player.
Well, folks, we are going to move into a break, but coming up next, it's going to be Navi.